Thank you for listening to Lone Star Community Radio. This program was broadcasted and recorded live from the LSCR studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Lone Star Community Radio is supported by listeners like you. Donate and sponsor today. For more information on getting involved with Lone Star Community Radio, contact us at lscrstudios@gmail.com or visit us online at www.irlonestar.com.
Thank you for taking time to cruise in for Car Club Talk with Robert, Randy, and Dana. Welcome to our home in the Lone Star Community Radio Studios, housed here in Conroe Tower and in the county where the official flag of the Lone Star State was born. I'm Randy Weldon along with Robert Helmer and Dana Pritchard, and sequestered back in the safe room / sound studio is our sound engineer and producer Dick Schischler. We are broadcasting from Lone Star Community Radio on 104.5 and 106.1 FM and streaming worldwide on irlonestar.com, YouTube, and Facebook. And Dana, nice to see you back in the studio.
Yes, it's been a while, and also we're missing Robert today.
Yeah, where's Robert? He's missing. I know he had some issues going on with his wife, and then he took on a new job that's on the other side of the world. For some reason, he decided to migrate over there, but
we'll hope she's okay, and I know he has a new full-time job, so we wish him well and his wife. And same with me. I'm working lots of jobs, so I've been keeping busy too, in addition to the car club stuff. So, but it's good to be back.
Well, it's nice to have you in here.
And then you too. Are you healing up okay?
I'm healing up. Yeah, I take the cane with me now for just it's my security blanket, right, in case I get a little wobbly. But now the back's coming along. Yeah, well, when you get an infection that keeps you in there for about 3 weeks or little over 2 weeks, yeah, that's not a cool thing. So
yeah, but how was the nursing staff?
Nursing staff was wonderful.
See,
yeah, that care, can't argue with it.
Make it all worthwhile.
It did. It did. So I missed the last couple of Woodlands Coffee and Cars for a Cause. Or is it Cars and Coffee for a Cause?
It's always cars before. It's always cars before coffee.
Cars before coffee.
The Woodlands Cars and Coffee for a Cause. We did miss you. I know I can't believe it's end of the first quarter. Almost. It will be soon. But January and February. January we didn't have so much of a good turnout just because of the weather. Last month it was really good, nice turnout, and we had our first quarter charitable recipient, which is the Woodlands Kiwanis Club, and they were on site with us, and that's going to be our first guest. But it was nice with a lot of people, and the weather was good last month, but we did miss you.
Well, but I heard that Philip was doing the music out there, and Robert was high-fiving everybody. He loved the music.
The music was really good. It's been nice. It's quite diverse, gets people moving. No honeymooners were complaining, except for maybe the garbage trucks that were out there and the leaf blowers.
Well, they come in before 7 o'clock.
Yeah, but I even got the picture of the garbage truck in for the photos.
Good.
Because it was quite the showstopper. But it wasn't in bounds. It was out of bounds, so the truck was acceptable.
But did he show up and pick the dumpster up and dump it? And
yeah, he did that.
He banged it, made all that noise.
Right in front of the hotel.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I don't know what rooms go for over there on a nightly basis, but I'm sure being woken up on some special weekend, at say $200 or maybe $500 a night, it's probably not what you want to wake up to.
And if anybody wants to see pictures, I know I can't get around to all the cars that come out because I'm usually up front in front of Starbucks, but we do have several photographers that come out, personal, hobbyists that take pictures. But I do always make a thank you post after the event. I try to post pictures of all the vehicles that came out. And some of them were just amazing. I mean, we have different ones that attend all the time, and they come from all over. So we definitely appreciate everyone that comes out because they could be anywhere, but they choose to come out and see us between 6 and 10. So
well, same. I don't want to say the same group of people because you have different people come out, and it's interesting. I find over the years that I've been volunteering with you. The people that will hear about us or hear about that event, TWCC, from other areas of Houston, and they'll drive up 70 miles away, and take part in this thing. So you get the locals, and then you get people that we're drawing in from all over the place.
Yeah, we definitely have our regulars. I mean, we've been around since 2001, so that's a long time. And actually, I think we were the first actual car club in the Woodlands established, and then also the very first Cars and Coffee for a Cause. And so that means a lot to have our regulars come, month after month, year after year for so many years, and the word of mouth that gets out for the new people. Now, I know it's early in the morning, but and for the people who are local, it's great. But we do appreciate those who do drive very far to come to the event. And being charity driven, that sets us apart a lot too, because the charity is always on site with us, so people know where their donations are going. And the donation can be of any amount, which is important because, a lot of what I hear is when people are posting different events around the area, they say free event. But with our event, it's a free event, but we are also a guest on Market Street's property. We do have expenses to pay, such as insurance and whatnot. So it's nice to be able to have the donation of any amount, that a portion of those will go to the charity that's selected by Market Street each year. So
Well, for the money collected that we collect, right, 100% of the proceeds, after expenses, 100% of that does go to the charity, right? Every
Yes,
quarter.
Yes. Once we do pay the expenses, which there are some. I mean, with any event, there are expenses if it's a well-organized event. So we have security, police officers. We
Insurance.
Yes, we have insurance. We have our treasurer duties. And we also have various, flyers and materials that we distribute. And we also have some people who play key roles in some of the organization, and also we do have some in-kind sponsors, but also like with signage, T-shirts, sometimes that is, sponsored by different organizations and local small businesses that help us. But if that's not donated, then we do use some of those funds for those various things, just to be able to be a nice, cohesive, representative of our event and who we are. And also, we do make donations throughout the year to other charities that we like to spotlight. So I think a lot of organizations do benefit, from us, the nonprofits. It's not just what Market Street selects as far as charities go. And you'll see that throughout the year, that we will highlight a charity each quarter or throughout the year. So.
Well, for a bunch of car people that like looking at their cars, it's not bad to get that collection together and see everybody getting along over a cup of coffee in the morning, or maybe a blueberry muffin or something like that.
Yeah, and it makes them feel good too. I mean, they feel like that they're actually giving back themselves when they come up with a couple of dollars or some pocket change, or if they write a check out to the charity. It makes them feel good. Not only are they enjoying their hobby by showing their car off for people to see, which makes them happy, but to know that they're giving back to their community, to an important organization that can help so many people. I mean, that's the greatest feeling. So, again, that's what separates us from other, coffee and cars or cars and coffee events, is that our number one objective is to raise awareness for local nonprofits, bring people together with all different types of vehicles, and also highlight small businesses.
So what was the thought when you originally started this? In getting this together? Was it just the idea is like, hey, we can do something with our cars?
Well, going back to 2001 when we formed the club, there was no group that was out there with like-minded people who just loved the nostalgia of the classic cars. And that's how it started, with the classic and vintage cars. And we knew that there was a whole lot of people in the Woodlands that had those cars, but there was no outlet for them to congregate, to get to know each other, to share, the enthusiasm of their hobby. So that's when we started our, Saturday night street meets to be able to meet and do that. And that evolved into car shows. So we did 2 car shows a year. We had meetings and committees and did all kinds of raising money for charities, at our events. And then 2008, we started to think of, hey, there was that Houston Coffee and Cars in Houston that we were a part of back in the late 90s. Said, hey, there's nothing like that in the Woodlands, so let's do that. So we did that for our 8-year anniversary to celebrate the Woodlands Car Club. Market Street was only a couple years old. We already had a couple of full-blown car shows there, and then we decided just to hold our Sunday morning events there. So and then it just evolved into, hey, this is a really nice gathering. It's different.
It's quaint. The setting is nice and laid back.
The backdrop is beautiful. It's personable. People get to know each other. We don't segregate the cars into what type of, manufacturer car you have. We love all ages of people because it brings the very young and the very old, and it brings those generations together and families. And that's important because we want the younger generation to know that they're accepted and that the older generation will communicate with them and just interact with them and teach them.
I originally started going to Houston Coffee and Cars, and that would get shut down because you get some crazy actors out there that would spin out, run into something, end up getting towed off, and then the community around the area would start to rise up and object to the car meets being there, and they'd have to move it to the other side of Houston, which I just wasn't. I was already getting up at 5 in the morning or 4:30 in the morning. I wasn't getting up at 3:30 in the morning to drive another hour to go to one of these. So having it in the Woodlands was nice.
Yeah, and I mean, it's almost par for the course. When you have these types of events, trust me, I know your adrenaline gets all worked up. You're excited, get your car all clean, your adrenaline's running, you show up the event. And sometimes things can get a little out of hand, And the key is to keep it so that it's well organized and that there's a goal, a specific mission. And I think that gets lost with other knockoff events, and you've seen there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them all over every week. But the thing about ours is there's an understanding when you come to our event. Not only is it a family event, but they know we're serious about keeping the event safe and successful, and people understand that and they respect that, and that's what really brings people together. They take it seriously, that they want the event to continue, so they're going to do whatever they can to keep everything, in order. So.
Well, speaking of that, the Lone Star Throwdown was just here in Montgomery County this past weekend. So this episode that we're recording will air Monday the 3rd, so that'll be after this month, 1st of March, it'll be the 3rd of March, TWCC. But the Lone Star Throwdown, and that's a large event. People come from across the United States for that. The law enforcement here in the county announced that they were going to beef up arrests and ticketing and stuff like that. For people attending what they called a car show, and it wasn't so much it's more of an event than just a car show, but they did have people in from out of town that, I don't remember the amount of tickets they listed, but it was pretty high. They had some arrests, and then we had shootings that occurred from what I understand from people that showed up that were attending the event. So you're just going to have that. The larger the event, the more difficult it is to manage.
But one important factor with that is whenever you're introducing alcohol into a car event or to any event, it's always not going to be the very best combination. And that's one of the keys too, is keeping it safe and having respect, knowing that it's not a free-for-all, and you just can't drink all day long and have a gun and expect things to go smooth,
One of the things with TWCC, since I have to get up at 5 in the morning to be there before 6, there's no alcohol involved at that.
I mean, we could have mimosas if we wanted to have a couple out there, or some Kahlua and coffee. But the idea is that, and with any event, there's a lot of successful events that are held at sports bars and things of that nature. But at our event, it's in the morning. So we have a very low chance of people going to, be drinking and driving and acting crazy. Now, if there is anyone that adrenaline's too high and they get a little sideways, revving their engines aggressively or peeling out of the parking lot, that's where the law enforcement comes in to maintain order. And that's why I feel like it's important to have the law enforcement around, interacting with the participants and the community to show their presence, not as a threatening way, but just say, hey, we want this event to be safe and successful, so we're here to maintain order. I think that's important.
Well, in the time I've been attending, which is since about
2014, 13?
No, it was before
12?
that. I think 10 or 11.
Okay.
I think I started volunteering in 11. There's been one incident that I can think of, and that got resolved really quickly. So the police were right there, and People were given the ultimatum to leave or go to jail.
And
their
I'll be
choice.
honest, it wasn't one of our regular attendees. It was a little bit younger crowd, and they came in a group, and they thought it was going to be like any other car meet, and it wasn't. And they were speeding, in a dangerous populated area, and that's not cool. So, and if they're not going to respect that, then there's going to be quick, swift action taken.
Gut fixed quick. So, well, hey, let me ask. There's some things I've noticed in some of the car sites, and I don't know if you stay on top of any of this or not, but I noticed that there's a global shakeup inside of Toyota, where the USA division, which is headquartered in Dallas, Texas, their CEO is getting moved to the board of directors. That's creating a whole management shakeup for Toyota. Do you stay on top of anything like that?
No, not particularly. I'm more in the local.
Just the local stuff?
There's enough locals to keep me busy for.
Well, a gentleman by the name of Chris Reynolds, I guess he's moving over to the board of directors. So they're trying to streamline their management, and that's going to have a huge impact on Toyota. So it's something to keep an eye on. And something else I ran across was cyber attacks on EV charging stations are on the rise.
Here we go again with the EVs.
Well,
somehow the conversation always gets intertwined in.
We're going to stick with this EV thing because I'm just all over that stuff. It's coming. It's not going to go away.
True.
And stuff like this you don't think about. Somebody hacking into a charging station, so when you plug in, whatever data could be grabbed,
well, yeah,
they're able to grab
it. That aspect of it's important. I think we touched on that a little bit before, of them knowing a little bit too much information, even more so of what they already know about us from our phones, but in the vehicles too.
Yeah, but it's going to be hard to get away from. It's not going to be anything that you can just slide away from quickly. I notice also that there's a company out there by the name of Factorial, that builds solid state batteries, and they've worked with Stellantis, but they also work with Hyundai and Kia, and so now they're starting to work with Mercedes-Benz. They've got batteries that actually run up to a 620-mile range. I'm sure that's in ideal conditions. It's not in the coldest of the cold or anything like that. But so yeah, they're starting production, I guess, somewhere here in the U.S. I can't remember where it said the startup was, but Factorial. Have you ever heard of them?
Oh, that'd be interesting to visit and see.
Yeah, I find it interesting that you have people that are that build all sorts of components that go in cars, and many of these we've never heard of. And here's one for you. You're not an EV person, but your new vehicle that you've got a BMW, right? Mm-hmm. So in your BMW, does it have any sort of self-driving features?
No self-driving features.
Okay.
It's a 2014, but that's just one car. I'm more proud of the Corvettes we have too.
Yeah, I'm sure you are.
I love my domestic, but the BMW is a good car.
I've had my European go around. I loved my Jaguar. That was a great car. But here's the question: have you rented a car or driven a car that has the radar built in, where it actually keeps you from running into the person in front of you or keeps you in your lane? Have you driven any of those?
No. When I was running WPS, the automotive shop, we would have a couple of the newer cars come in, but it's all new, so not particularly long drives on them or to really get to know the features. But I imagine some of them would be helpful.
Well, have you used it at all?
No. So,
I'll rent cars to go across the United States. I don't like to drive my own vehicles on those long trips. And I started using it. First time I used it, this thing was all over me about you need to pull over, take a break. It's time for a coffee break. You're not staying in your lane. You're not alert. Well, yeah, I was alert. I was just playing on Facebook, right? Or I was texting somebody or whatever.
While you were driving?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, Jesus, Randy.
Of course. Yeah.
We already had our public service announcement about this.
Yes, I know, but actually, this whole thing has kind of broken me from this. But at first I didn't trust the radar in these vehicles to work. Then now I've become more trusting of it. And I openly admit I'm an early adopter of technology, but it's very interesting the way it works. I do pay more attention now. Your hands have to stay on the wheel, or you can only keep them off for so many seconds before the car will alert you.
So you can't eat your cheeseburger and drink your milkshake at the same time?
You can just have one finger on the wheel. It'll be just fine. But you're not going to take my eating away from me, Eating and driving, my favorite thing to do. No, but in addition to what you have on the Nissans and the Toyotas and stuff like that with the self-driving features, a couple of weeks ago, and you missed this, but I had gotten a ride in a Cybertruck, and that's taking live video streams from 9 different cameras in the vehicle and feeding it up to an AI computer that's computing all this stuff and feeding it back down to the truck for learning and ongoing learning of how to drive. So this stuff's getting better and better and better. But there's a report out now that shows that U.S. consumers are actually thawing to the idea of the car driving itself. So we're on that path of, it's not just EVs, but this whole technology as it evolves, right? We're opening up to letting this stuff actually more and more control us, or be in control of us, because we're letting it do its job.
And that's fine, but technology breaks, and I don't trust it all the time. Example, the cameras.
The cameras.
The backup cameras.
Yeah.
Now that thing is supposed to tell you to stop if you're going to back into, some trees and bushes and curbs and hit another vehicle.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes it doesn't work.
Well, it doesn't.
Anyway, I have something for you.
But wait a minute. Human beings aren't exactly flawless, right? Well, maybe you, but I'm
okay,
not.
but at least I can see with my own eyes if I have my head out the window.
Sometimes.
And I'm going to check and see if I won't hit a pole.
Sometimes.
Okay, related to EV, I just learned this. And I couldn't understand why, if you come to a stoplight, you have a whole car length space in between the next car. Now, I know that you're supposed to give yourself a little bit of space. In case you get carjacked, you can easily pull out and escape from the carjacker. But why are they leaving a whole entire car length? And do you know what that means? If you're running late and the light turns green and you have all the space, that there's chances you're going to be going through about 3 red lights. And I couldn't figure out why people are leaving so much space. Well, Philip told me that some of these cars stop all by themselves. They stop when they're supposed to stop.
They do.
And the driver just accepts that stop. They don't pull up. So anything about that you know of?
I know I've experienced it, yes, in these
Okay.
cars, because some of these, when you've got the radar on, it will bring you to a complete stop.
But how does it know when to stop?
It has something to do with the radar and so many feet and stuff like that. But on the Cybertruck, we went down, when I was taking for a ride in that, we got off 1488 going north on 45, and it went through a construction zone. Now, it did keep us in the right lane when the left lane was open, and we could have gone to the left. And keep in mind, we could have disengaged it and manually driven it, but it could have gotten us up a lot closer to the intersection we needed to make a turn at, and it didn't. But it did, as traffic bunched up, it slowed down. When we came to a stop, it stopped, and it did keep a safe distance for us. But I'll tell you something on this I learned as a young kid. My mother had gone back to something to do with her mom and dad as they were getting up in age in Pennsylvania, and she had a rental car, and she was sitting at a red light, and somebody ran into her from behind and pushed her car into the car in front of hers, and that car got pushed into another car, and she got a ticket for not having control of her car. So even though she was sitting at a dead stop, the reason for that space is if you get pushed into that car in front of you, you're still responsible. You're the one that hit that car, and you're the one that gets the ticket for hitting the car in front of you.
Yes, I've heard that too. That makes sense.
Yeah, so you need that space. That's
you need
why.
a little space, but it's, I guess if you see people on their cell phones and not paying attention and they're almost a car and a half length space, then you're kind of wondering why, you know.
Well, when you get up to 3 car lengths, that's a whole different thing. So, hey, we need to slide on out of here in a second, but we've got somebody coming into the studio with the first quarter charity for TWCC, and that was picked by
Market Street.
And TWCC. Who we have coming in?
Yeah, so we have Kathleen from the Woodlands Kiwanis Club, and they were chosen as Market Street's first quarter charity. And then the participants at the TWCC event also make donations on behalf of our event to that organization. So.
All right, we'll have her in here in a second. This is Cruisin' Car Club Talk on Lone Star 104.5 and 106.1 FM. Or for those of you who may have wandered outside of the listening area, we can be streamed around the globe on irlonestar.com, YouTube, or Facebook.
Every Friday, tune into Texas Ticket on Conroe's 104.5 and 106.1 FM with Armando Nino of Gull Lake Conroe, focusing on Montgomery County area events and places. Get a feel of the Texas spirit at the event, paired with guest and vendor interviews, event coverage, and ticket giveaways, and so much more. Join us Fridays and punch your Texas Ticket. For more information on the show, visit irlonestar.com/Texas Ticket.
We are back and appreciate you spending time to cruise in for Car Club Talk with Robert, Randy, and Dana. We've got Robert missing this week, but we do have Dana back in the studio, and it's nice to have Dana here. Dana, the charity for the first quarter.
Yeah, it's the Woodlands Kiwanis Club, and they were chosen by Market Street to be a recipient of their Change for Charity program. And how the Woodlands Car Club interacts with that or participates is each person who comes into the Woodlands Cars and Coffee for a Cause the first Sunday morning of the month at Market Street makes a donation of any amount, and then we take a portion of those donations at the end of the quarter, and then we write a check out to the charity. So today we have Kathleen with us, and they've been with us for the last couple of months at Market Street on site, so people can learn more about the organization and where their donations are going to.
And I miss being out there with you because I had this back operation thing.
Oh.
That last February thing, Dana's like, "Hey, you coming out this month?" I was like, "Nah, too cold."
It was a great. It turned out to be a great day.
Yeah, it was a
I
great
mean, the weather
day.
was beautiful.
Yeah, it
there was a
was.
great turnout. Yeah, we had a lot of fun being there.
I don't think I was off the drugs yet. So
Oh,
Randy, there was a lot of energy.
there was
that
a lot of
event,
positive
because-
energy.
Because we had the Chamber of Commerce was also out there and part of the Kiwanis Club, and so it made a huge group representation from them.
Yep.
And they were just so energetic and intermingling with people, and it was a lot of fun. So they were taking pictures and videos and all kinds of stuff.
You know,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
get all that stuff going on, it makes a big difference, right? The energy of it, the whole
Yeah,
thing. So, Kathleen, I'm from a small town in western Pennsylvania, about 5,000 people on a good year, and
I grew up in a small town in Oklahoma, just like that.
there you go. Yeah. So, but I'd be willing to bet in your town because I know in our town we had a sign that I can remember seeing as a kid that said Kiwanis. At the
Exactly.
time, no matter what, I never realized. I knew it was a nationwide club as I traveled around the United States, but underneath every one of those signs it said Kiwanis International.
Yes.
It's a global.
It is. Yes, we
it's
are
a-
an actual international organization.
Yeah. So you are the president for 2025 of the Kiwanis Club in the Woodlands area, right?
That's correct.
And so that's a volunteer position?
Yes. So our club and most of the Kiwanis clubs or the local chapters are all volunteer. So there's very few paid positions throughout Kiwanis International. So all of the clubs are, formed in their area based on kind of the need and the desire, and it's all about serving the kids in the community. So yes, all of our positions are volunteer.
Well, when Robert called me last night, "Are you ready for the show tomorrow?" I was like, "Robert, I got people over here. I can't talk to you right now." Well, you got Kwanzaa coming out. I was like, no, man, we don't have Kwanzaa. He's like, "What's that other one?" It's koala. No. So what is a Kiwanis?
Well, so the actual name Kiwanis comes from an indigenous American tribe.
So we're back to Native Americans.
Yes, the
Okay.
Kiwanis. And I'm not sure how the original founders of the Kiwanis Club decided to use that name, but we've been around since 1915. The organization was formed in Detroit, and originally it was a bunch of businessmen that wanted to get together and just exchange ideas, things like that. And then one year, one of the gentlemen found a young man that was in need, that was orphaned, did not have a home, did not have clothing, did not have mentors, schooling, all of that. And so the club kind of, adopted him in general. They all helped him out in various ways. And then from that point, they decided that instead of just being a group of businessmen getting together, they needed to have a purpose. And so they decided it was all about kids, supporting kids in the community with whatever they need. And we still do that today.
That's great.
So it grew internationally
It did. Yeah.
from with the idea of supporting these children in need.
Yeah, so it was really, I guess you could refer to it as like a grassroots, right? The Detroit Club started, and then they, kind of started spreading the word, and other, cities or small towns started developing their own chapters or local clubs to support the kids in their community. So we do both. We have international projects. For example, we have a project that we still support today called Project Elimination, and it's all about eliminating neonatal deaths from lack of tetanus shots, right? So it's neonatal tetanus, both for the fetus and for the birth mother. And we've been able to provide, vaccines to third world countries where they just can't get it, or communities even where they can't get that type of medical treatment, to make sure that mothers and babies are healthy. So that's an example of international.
Well, I notice here you've got 241,000 service projects making a difference in kids' lives every year, specific to the vaccinations that you just mentioned. Did you notice there's this measles outbreak in West Texas, and the majority of the kids that are affected are unvaccinated?
Oh, wow.
I think that's a choice made out there.
Yeah.
But what you're talking about in a lot of the United States and a lot of countries around the world, the vaccines just aren't available.
Yes, that's
and
correct.
you're making those available to
Yes,
them
yes, exactly.
through donations.
Yes. Yes. So this year, our club is part of what Kiwanis calls the Possibility Project. And our club has committed to donate $14,000 over the course of the next 3 years. And all of that money goes into an international fund, and organizations, nonprofits, or other service organizations can make requests for grants out of that fund for things like vaccines or whatever. And it could be, an organization out in West Texas. Maybe it is by choice out there, but it could be that there are communities that don't have, access to the medical that, you would think that we all have today. I mean, even in our local county, in East Montgomery County, a lot of people don't have transportation, so they don't have a way to get, to medical services that they may need.
We've raised collected toys for Christmas for kids in East Montgomery County, and it's some of the pictures I've seen when the donations were made. It's pretty heartbreaking.
Yeah.
So I mean, every county, every town has a poor area in it, and it's just a fact of life.
Yeah. It is, yeah. So part of our goal is to making sure that we're helping kids. My kind of personal reason that I chose Kiwanis as a nonprofit is because I've always wanted to help kids, because kids don't have a choice, right? Adults, mostly we have a choice. Sometimes maybe because of your, the condition or, where you live or how you grew up, maybe you don't have as many choices, but kids really don't have a choice. They're all at, kind of the discretion or the guidance of what we provide them as adults. So I've always wanted to.
They're all of us are products of our homes, right?
Yes.
I know that your mom's been divorced. Your dad, Bruce, your stepdad, technically, has been there for you. I was one of the fortunate kids whose mom and dad never got divorced, Well, they did once for tax purposes, but they never moved out of the house, and they ended up getting remarried. So, but,
We won't tell anybody.
Yeah, even that affected me. It's like, what? You got divorced? You know?
Yeah.
But so Kiwanis is there for those kids and trying to help them become a whole kid. I notice here it says mentoring. And so just in the you had mentioned to me earlier, you've got a Kiwanis club in Conroe. You've got one in the Woodlands Spring area, and there's one in Houston. Then you've got Baytown, a few other areas. But how does specifically in the Woodland, what kind of mentoring programs do you have?
So we work through the high schools with key clubs, and we even work backwards into grade schools with what we call builders clubs. So we develop organizations within the school system, and the Kiwanis Club goes to support those kids. In the high schools, it's mainly about providing service to others, right? We want the high school kids to learn about service and what that means to serve their community so that they can continue to do that. So a lot of times they will mentor kids in, grade school, junior high, middle school, things like that. And then we also provide leadership and development programs to kids. The high school Key Club kids have an opportunity to go to an annual convention. We're in the Texas-Oklahoma district, so it's going to be somewhere in Texas or Oklahoma. So pretty easy to get to on an annual basis, and they learn a lot about leadership, things that they can take throughout their lives, regardless of what they decide to do, whether they're going to stay in nonprofit or go into business, go into, open their own business or go to work for a corporation. Any type of leadership and development training is going to help them and support them. And then they can in turn help and support their community.
And you mentioned that you always wanted to help kids. How long have you been involved, and what specifically, directly have you feel that has been impacted by your role or just being involved in?
So I've been with the local Kiwanis Club for 5 years now, and we have a couple of different annual events. We have a track and field event every year that we coordinate through Texas Special Olympics, and that's really amazing to be able to have kids that have different types of developmental needs come together in a track and field event, compete with each other, have fun, get medals, awards. We also have something as simple as what we call a kids fishing tournament. So Saturday of Labor Day every year, the Bass Club helps us stock a local pond in the Woodlands, and then we invite kids, of all ages to come out and fish. We cook hot dogs, we have music, they do line dancing, just a fun event, but just a way for kids to learn, what's going on in their community, fun things to do in their community, because a lot of quote unquote city kids, may not get to go fishing or may not know what that's like. Right.
Is any child welcome, or is it
absolutely?
You have to apply for
nope.
a specific?
Yep. Kids can come for free. We try to advertise that on social media. Make sure everybody knows about it. This past year, we had, I think, probably about 50 kids turn out to fish, and we'll, have little mini contests, biggest fish, most pounds, smallest fish, most fish caught, all of that kind of stuff, just to make it fun.
So it's been rewarding for you the past 5 years.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a lot of fun, and especially with Special Olympics, it's really fun to see the kids, get up on the medal stand and
a self-esteem boost.
Yeah,
for them.
absolutely, absolutely.
So I noticed on this, I've got a double-sided form here. One side is if somebody wants to become a sponsor, and I'm assuming this is available online as well.
Absolutely.
And then the other side is you can join the club.
Absolutely.
And anybody can join?
Anybody can join. We do background checks on all of our members just because we are working with kids. So we want to make sure that kids' safety comes first. But yeah, as long as you can clear the background check, anybody can apply to be a member. You can apply to be a member of any club. So whatever time the club meets, we happen to meet weekly at 7 a.m. We meet at the Hyatt House in Shenandoah. So that way people that are working can come have breakfast, meet with us, and get back to work, generally by 8:30 or so.
Yeah, I'd be there except for that 7 a.m. thing.
Well, you might want to go to the Conroe Club or the Bilingual Club. I think they meet at noon. That might be a better time for you.
And how was the Woodlands Chamber of Commerce involved again? Because they were out there as well at Market
Well,
Street.
so Royce Brooks works with the Woodlands Chamber,
Right.
and he's one of our members.
Oh, he's a
and
member,
so
okay.
yeah, so what he does for the chamber really works well for us in Kiwanis. So he meets a lot of the new chamber members that come in, and one of the things that we do is we try to have speakers come to our club every week, and it may be other nonprofits that support kids, like Kids Meals in Montgomery County. Or things like that. We want our members to be able to learn about what's going on in the community.
That's good.
And then we also want to be able to learn about other nonprofits that support kids so we can partner with them.
That's
right?
awesome.
They might be doing a thing in the community to help kids, and we can either support them by providing some funding to them or providing volunteers to come out and help them with their event or whatever they may be doing.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
So the last couple of months that you've been out to TWCC, this will be your final month, and then you'll get a check from Market Street Association and the Woodlands Car Club.
And we very much appreciate that.
Well, it's so those car people are shady people that probably wouldn't pass your background check, or they might. But
I bet they
Well,
would.
thanks a lot, Randy.
well, you're the one I'm referring to here. It's like when I say they.
Well, I met Bruce. Bruce tried to sell me his car the first time I met him.
Do you own a vet now?
No, not yet.
Ah, man. So, yeah. Bruce is trying to get rid of that, but Bruce needs to get rid of that. He built it up, and it's
Yeah, I know.
He
I'm
doesn't
not
mean
sure
you'd
I
be
could
driving
handle
it.
that
Yeah.
thing.
It's a lot of car.
It is.
But you
what-
may know somebody.
I might. Yeah, you never know.
What's your experience of being out there? Do the car people make you feel welcome? And
Oh
are
my
they
gosh, it was so much fun. I wish I had known about it sooner. I'll probably, long after we are the charity of the quarter or whatever, I'll probably still be going, to the event because everybody loves to tell you about their car. And everybody's car is different. It has a different story. I met the lady who has the limos that used to be out at Yellowstone Park, and they're painted yellow and, just really cool. And then, all the people who have done custom work to their cars and things like that.
It's a
Yeah,
lot
so
of
everybody was
nostalgia.
wonderful. And all of the car people wanted to come by and visit with us and find out about us and what we do and what we do in the community and how they could support us. So that
Great
was
exposure.
Yes, absolutely. It was really rewarding. Yeah.
Have you met the British doctor or former British doctor that has the limo that carried, I guess, family members in Buddy Holly's funeral?
Oh wow, I did not meet
I'm
him.
not sure if he was out there. He may have been.
He comes out, brings that
Okay.
car.
I'll look for that one this coming Sunday.
Think about that piece of history, you know.
Yeah, it's
but,
amazing.
But you have a you have a Mustang.
Are you
so-
trying to recruit her into the Mustang Car Club?
Well,
Here we go.
Well, technically it's my husband's Mustang, but I do like to drive it.
Still.
It's fun.
see, and it's all about the driving it, right?
It is. It is.
yeah.
It's yeah. She still doesn't have a name yet.
Well, you got to get it a name.
I know. But I can't name it. It's not my car.
What
so-
color is she?
She's red. She's candy apple red.
Oh, see,
What
I've got a
years?
red candy.
Oh,
What year is she?
okay. 2020.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's the
So she's just a
Ford
baby.
It's the
She's
Mustang
just a baby.
55 year anniversary edition.
And
yeah,
mine's
GT.
10 years younger.
Ah.
But no, it's all about the driving. It's all about getting together with people that have like interests and having fun. Because there's
they
a
have a
lot
lot
to
of
talk about.
And they have a lot of dinners to go to.
We do have a lot of dinners, yeah. So you missed that
I
last
know.
one.
Well, even for people that, maybe don't know a lot about cars. I mean, I don't necessarily know a lot about cars, but I like to hear people that have stories to tell about whatever they're doing and whatever they're interested in.
Well, I don't work on my own car. I like my knuckles too well. So, I'll pay somebody to work on it. So my knowledge is reasonably limited compared to this lady over here. She's got a lot of background and knowledge in cars.
Yep.
But it's
And Robert does as well.
But it's the camaraderie, though. Bringing everybody together is nice.
Yeah.
It is. I mean,
It's a
I went
fun
to
time.
school in Conroe, so I'm a Conroe High graduate, and I did learn how to spell car while I was there.
That's good.
I was very proud of myself.
That's excellent. Did you learn how to spell auto?
Not yet, but I'm working on it.
Okay. All right.
I'm working on
We'll
it.
test you next time we see you.
Try spelling performance 3 times in a row.
Yeah, one of these days. One
A lot of
these days.
people say PRE instead of PER. You'd be surprised.
Do they say that? Yeah. Now, I think I've got performance down, so
Yeah,
I know how to spell that one.
Spelling.
Yeah.
But so your experience has been good, and you'll probably come back to that
Oh,
event.
absolutely. It's been great.
We hope that you get well. You've had 2 good months of turnout so
Well,
far.
the first month wasn't as good, but like I said, where we lack, Market Street definitely picks up, so they'll get a very nice donation.
Not good.
Yeah.
Good.
We're looking forward to good weather this Sunday, so.
Well, it's-
And we also have our sponsor, Wealth Enhancement Group, so they'll be contributing $500 separately as well
Oh, good.
on
Wow.
behalf of our event. So
Wow,
good.
that's amazing.
You know, it's an interesting thing, but the Market Street Association, like, unless I'm mistaken, you correct me, all the money from the meters that's collected
That's correct.
is all goes to charity.
Yep,
A certain
they
amount of
take a
money.
portion of those. Mhm.
Yep.
A certain amount of money that comes from the amphitheater over there, I believe, also may not go to Market Street, but some of that money goes to charity as well.
I'm not sure the amphitheater. Or,
Well, I don't know
The-
that's
the-
for the Market Street
The
Association.
Cynthia Woods
but-
Mitchell Pavilion, yeah.
But I know that a lot of the money from the bands that come here that goes to charity as well. But in particular, with what Market Street does, the money collected from those meters, the money of the 2 monthly car events that go on over there, all go to the quarterly charity as well. So
That's great.
it
And
just
we
helps.
appreciate it. We'll put it to good use through scholarships, supporting other nonprofits in the community that support kids. So.
And you
yeah.
said 2 monthly car events, 2 monthly ones,
Well, there's the TWCC, and then is the other one still going?
but they don't donate.
Oh, they don't?
No, it's
Oh.
not a charity based. That's what makes us different. Sets us apart. We're the only charity focused morning coffee,
Cruisin.
cars and coffee gathering. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. That.
See, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And I don't even drink coffee, but I love the cars and coffee.
Yeah, and that's why we always
connection.
say
It's a lot
cars
of fun.
before coffee.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cars come first. But yeah, a lot of people, they just meet and they gather, which is very nice. But we really like to highlight the charities because, as I said before, a lot of these nonprofits don't get a lot of government funding or big entity, corporate entity donations. So we really like to spotlight them. It's all a grassroots effort, though, exposure.
Absolutely.
You know, there's various car shows go on. The Northside Mustang Car Club's Montgomery County based, and we do a car show twice a year, 2 big car shows. One of them goes is the Gullo Christmas for Kids Foundation, and the other one is Honor Flight Houston.
Awesome.
But perhaps when we do our next one, which I believe is March 29th, you guys could rally together some kids and bring them on out. I mean, what are the age ranges?
Of the kids that we support?
Yeah.
Any and all age ranges. Kids that are in, a food desert or where food is not as accessible, we support them. So that could be, kids that are infants that are not in school yet. We support kids that are, in school all the way up to, high school, college. There's a kind of a progression of the organizations that we support through schools, that are organized through schools, starting in grade school, then high school, then even into college, and on to Kiwanis. But we support kids in the community with whatever the needs are.
Do the
So-
families have to apply for assistance?
No. So a lot of what we do is we will just organize events based on a need that we hear about or through another nonprofit, right? So a good example is Kids Meals Montgomery County, right? So they are serving meals, try to serve healthy meals to kids that are not in school. So they're not getting, that supplemental meal because they're not in school. So it's going to consist of, a piece of fruit, maybe a granola bar, something like that, an applesauce, a bottle of water. And so we can, support them by helping to pack those bags, going to actually volunteer at the event, decorating the bags. We can provide them with funding, to buy more food. We
So the
work
kids
with,
would come out to the event to receive
well,
those.
so depending on what it is, if there's an event that we have, kids can come to the event. But like with Kids Meals Montgomery County, we work with them, and they actually go to the kids
And deliver
So
them.
yeah, so they
Okay.
deliver kids out meals out into the community where the kids are. So it really just kind of depends on the need, and we try to find the need by talking with people, talking with other nonprofits, and hearing about what's going on, being out in the community, so we can serve the kids.
You mentioned a little while ago also there's the Conroe Kiwanis and there's the Woodlands Kiwanis, which is Woodlands Spring. And then you mentioned the bilingual Kiwanis.
Yep.
And talk a little bit about that, if you don't mind. I mean,
Yeah, absolutely. So the Bilingual Kiwanis Club is a newly formed club. They also meet here in Conroe. I think they meet twice a month. I'm not sure exactly where they have their meetings, but I think their meetings are lunch meetings. And you don't have to be bilingual to join their club. I think their focus was they wanted to have some bilingual people in their club so they could support bilingual families, right? Or families that maybe English is not their first language. They wanted to make sure they could provide that communication and support. And one of the things that they did this past winter is they had like a sock and underwear drive, for kids of all ages, just to supplement, their needs. Just so the families don't have to buy that and then could potentially spend money on other things.
It's kind of hard for a lot of people to even grasp the concept when you live in the area of Houston that we live in, that there are people in our community who struggle to get socks and underwear.
Yeah. Or they have
food.
to decide, right? Am I going to pay rent? Am I going to buy groceries? Am I going to buy clothes for my kids? Yeah, it's very, very devastating to be able to have to make those types of decisions. So those are the types of things that we try to do. We try to support the kids and their families so that they don't have to make those decisions.
Well, in the case of what we're talking about here with the bilingual families, some of these maybe a mother and a father are together, not just necessarily a single mother. That are they're doing everything they can to scrape together every penny they can to raise their family.
Yep, absolutely. Oftentimes you have, either one or two parents that are working, and it's still not enough. I mean, the cost of living is going up, and, it's just depending on what type of work they do, it just may not be enough to, support the entire family. So we want to make sure that we can support them.
And it's same thing with Sleep in Heavenly Peace. No child goes without having a bed to sleep in.
Yep.
You could probably find out a lot of people, or kids in need, through that organization too. Because if you're supplying beds so they don't sleep on the floor, I could imagine what Kiwanis Club could do, collaborating with those families.
Yeah. One of the other things that we do, an event that we support each year or host each year, is the Woodlands Community Prayer Breakfast. So this year is the 39th year we're going to be doing the prayer breakfast. We work with Mike, over at Sleep in Heavenly Peace, other organizations like that. Part of the prayer breakfast is really about bringing the community together in prayer and inspiration, but we also want to be able to connect all of those nonprofits that support kids so that they know about each other and they can coordinate services and be able to call on each other and rely on each other. And we also want to be able to help them, either through manpower, through volunteers, or through funding to help them do what they're doing in the communities to support kids.
That's a good outlet for everybody.
Yeah.
Well, it's a good way to get everybody together like that, because there's a lot of organizations out there in our own community that we don't connect the dots with.
Yeah, they're just out on their own, kind of struggling to get that exposure and need.
Absolutely.
I've got every January I text my neighbor and ask if my dealer has any stash for me to buy. And so,
do we want to ask what, or?
Well, yeah, it's Girl Scout cookies.
Oh, okay, yes.
Because obviously I'm on the ongoing,
See, Randy,
69 years of diet.
You should have said at the beginning. 'Cause you got people's minds going in a different direction before you got to the cookies.
Well, I get a kick out because it's my neighbor is diagonal behind me, and I'll text her, hey, has my dealer got any stash?
You're on the maintenance program?
I'm on the ongoing diet maintenance program.
Well, they have
Let's make sure I don't lose too much or gain too much. Right?
They have his credit card on file. So.
I'm sure.
Well, what I do is I buy my 5 boxes of Thin Mints, and I'll lumber in a couple other boxes from maybe Yolanda wants some or whatever. But then I donate. They've gone up to $6 a box now, but I'll donate $120 so they can donate 20 boxes to a needy cause.
Oh yeah.
And
That's amazing.
because I think for that for Violet, my dealer, to be able to understand what it's like to give back.
Yeah.
And learn that growing up is important,
Absolutely.
But I ask them every year. It's like I'd prefer to see it go to a veteran out there, a needy veteran, maybe in a VA hospital or something. But if not, we know where there's a women's shelter here, and I only know that because being involved with TWCC and what the Market Street Association has pulled together as a Montgomery County charity. So we don't know those places exist, but I know exactly where this one is across the street because of the TWCC and the Market Street.
And Randy, get your extra dollars because the Girl Scouts have tip jars now for.
Yeah,
sorry.
that's great.
just
Yeah.
kidding.
So our Kiwanis Club is actually
They
supporting.
need tip jars? Wait a minute. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
All right, that caught me. So what were you going to
I was
say?
going to say our Kiwanis Club is actually supporting a one of the senior Girl Scouts. So she's a senior in high school this year, and she's doing a Gold Award project in Girl Scouts, which is kind of one of their highest top honors. And she is actually, her goal is to bring awareness and reduce clothing waste. So she is going to host a clothing swap where, people of similar sizes and things like that can actually swap clothes instead of, doing away with clothes, throwing them away, letting them go to landfill or whatever, and buying new clothes. So she's got, kind of a mission to get together, and we're going to support her in that as well. So those are some of the things that we do too, is we work with the Girl Scouts. We've had just had the Girl Scout troop from San Jacinto come speak to us recently and tell us about what they've got going on.
Where is the San Jacinto group located?
They are kind of the North Houston area.
Okay.
So like Kingwood, the Woodlands, they encompass several cities kind of on the north side of Houston.
Yeah, I'm only asking that because we had the Camp Strake was the Boy Scout Camp Strake that was here in Montgomery County, and now it's a subdivision. So I didn't know where the San Jacinto group was. I know where the river is.
Yeah.
When it stays within its boundaries,
Yes. Or you definitely know where it is when it doesn't, right?
Oh boy, do we all know? We all know.
Yeah. We actually had the director from the San Jacinto River Authority come and speak to us the other day to tell us about what the River Authority does and what they're responsible for. So that's very interesting.
Yeah, and they manage that very well, as well as it can be managed at this low of an elevation where we live.
Yeah.
I mean,
They do a great
look, we're
job.
just prone to flooding here. That's the way it is, right?
And,
So, Kathleen, we're going to have to slide on out in a second. But how do people? It is Kathleen, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's correct.
And what's your last name?
Buckland.
Buckland. I knew it was Buck something, so Buckland. Kathleen Buckland. How do people get in touch with you? Is there an email address, phone number, website?
You bet. Our website is woodlandskiwanis.org, and our email address is woodlandskiwanispresident@gmail.com. And again, we meet every Thursday morning at 7 a.m. at Hyatt House Shenandoah. So if you want to stop by, we'll buy you breakfast.
Well, now that might be a different thing for me. That's,
Okay,
Randy's
now
free
we know how
muffins.
to get you up at 7. We've
Free
got
muffins.
coffee, we've got breakfast. Yeah.
biscuits.
oh, biscuits. Yeah, we got biscuits. Find a little gravy to throw in there.
There you
with it.
go.
We're
There
good
you
to
go.
go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good to go.
So anybody is welcome to join us, any week that we meet. We love to have guests and, share with them what we're doing. And you might even, learn something from somebody in the community that's speaking to us that week.
Yeah, and you have different guest speakers in every week. Yeah. So yeah, it sounds like a great deal. I look forward to this. This will air after the March Woodland Coffee, the Woodlands Cars and Coffee for a Cause. I was about to get beat up. You saw the evil daggers pointing over this way.
Cars before coffee.
But this will air the day after that. But we'll see you out there this weekend.
Absolutely.
And-
I will be there bright and early, probably 5:45.
All right.
And you'll get to see him again at the donation presentation once Market Street
Oh, there
selects
you
the
go,
day and
yeah.
time
Oh,
for that.
awesome.
So.
Yeah, that'll be great.
Yeah, that'll be great.
Yeah.
So, no, are you going to drive your Mustang out to the event?
You know what? If I can convince my husband to get it detailed.
Get all shined up.
Yep, we will drive it out.
Yeah,
but
it's a Cruisin. You don't have to detail it. Just come on out and take part. And
Yeah.
for the people that think they have to detail their car, they don't. We just come on out and make a donation. It's
Yeah.
going to a good cause.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, we certainly enjoy it, and thank you all for hosting us and having us and supporting us. We appreciate it very much.
And thank you for marketing the event. You've done a tremendous job. Not all
Absolutely.
organizations really do that, and it's been extremely helpful. So thank you for that.
Well, we're very fortunate. One of our members has a marketing company, so
amazing.
we get to utilize their services as as much as we can. So
That-
we,
that
we
That makes
appreciate
all the
them. Yeah.
difference.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
makes all the difference.
Thank you, Denny.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, Denny and Darlene. Yeah.
Well, Kathleen, thanks for coming into the studio and
Yeah,
taking
thank
time with
you.
us.
Yeah.
This is Cruisin' Car Club Talk on Lone Star 104.5 and 106.1 FM. Or for those Globetrotters out there, we can be streamed anywhere on earth at irlonestar.com, on Facebook, or on YouTube. I'm Randy Weldon. This is Dana Pritchard, yeah?
Dana Pritchard.
All right. We'll be back in just a minute.
Car enthusiasts of Conroe, FM 104.5 and 106.1 Lone Star Community Radio invites you to shift into gear every Monday from 1 to 2 with Cruisin' Car Club Talk with Robert and Randy for news on all things automotive in the greater Houston-Conroe area. Can't make a live show? We've got you covered. You can find all of our uncut content, including full episodes on Spotify, iTunes, Play Store, YouTube, Facebook, and irlonestar.com. Again, that's Mondays 1 to 2, Cruisin' Car Club Talk with Robert and Randy. See you there.
Welcome back. We appreciate you taking time to continue to stick with us here at Cruisin' Car Club Talk. Robert's missing, but I'm Randy Weldon, and Dana Pritchard is here. And Dana, tell us a little bit about, you're off on a new path right now.
Yeah, so after closing Woodlands Performance and Suspension, I'm still in the automotive world. Spun off of that, and now it's Woodlands Performance Services. So I still have the same website, woodlandsperformance.com. But now I've taken everything I've learned in the past 40 years of being involved in charities and automotive and my business and helping people, small businesses. I've collaborated all that together, and now I offer many different types of consulting services, personal concierge services, automotive referral services, helping small businesses refine their businesses, customer retention, marketing. So a little bit of everything. So you can always visit me there at the website. And then also still heavily involved in the Woodlands Car Club and, like I said, spotlighting small businesses and bringing charities together as well. Currently, I'm also doing some work for the Woodlands Home Repairs in the Woodlands. It's a home repair and remodeling business, and it's a company that's been around since 2009. And I know it's hard to trust people, when you're having those type of services done in your home. But Chris Deegan, the owner, has been wonderful. He was one of my Woodlands Performance and Suspension customers. And he's just has a great business, and I'm happy to be able to help him with some of his marketing and also streamline his business, and also keeping our customers happy. So it's the woodlandshomerepairs.com. So I was very, very honored to be asked to help him with his small business.
So aside from that, on what you've done, WPS continues.
It continues.
Right? It continues.
Just not the shop portion.
Well, right, but it's evolved into something a little bit different. And do you have a website?
Yeah. See, the whole idea is after closing the shop portion of the business, I still find that I can help people, but in a much broader capacity. So that's why I introduced Woodlands Performance Services, keeping the same logo, the same website, woodlandsperformance.com. My email address is on there. You can always get a hold of me that way or through Facebook too, Ron. But the idea is if you need help, no matter what it is related to, automotive, small business, charities, special events, personal concierge, whether it's dog walking, taking care of cats, or just helping you find the right shop. I'm there. I can assist.
So things like if you have a woman out there that, and I say a woman, could be a guy, but if there's a female that feels a little not so secure about finding the right tire for her car, you can give a little guidance on what to look for in a tire, what to look for price-wise, what to look for not being taken by add-ons, stuff like that.
Yeah, so for women and for anybody really that's looking for any general service for their car, whether they have a particular symptom or it's time for services or they need maintenance done, I mean, they could always get a hold of me, and I can kind of listen to what they're needing, what they're experiencing, and then I can direct them, to the appropriate facility, and I can help facilitate that service. So making them feel, bring their pressure, the pressure down, the anxiety down, that, hey, someone's going to be there as their advocate to listen to them and their needs and help them get lined up with a shop that's going to take care of them in the very best way. And I can make sure that will happen because I understand the concerns of the consumer as it relates to automotive needs. And so I want to be there to make sure that they're taken care of. So, and yes, even as far as tires go, I know who to go to, the questions to ask, to make sure that service gets done efficiently without them being, for example, being oversold on something that they don't need. So.
Well, I know from personal experience, and I'll keep the name of this shop because it's a nationwide franchise out of this segment of the show. But when Woodlands Performance and Suspension was open, had changed out of some suspension as well as struts and stuff on my Mustang, on my 2010 Mustang. But then at the time you weren't doing alignments, so I had to go take it for an alignment. And I had a lifetime thing I'd purchased for alignments with this shop. I pulled in there and they come back to me and it's like, you need this, it was something underneath there. It was part of the suspension. You need to replace this. And I was like, nah, I think we're good. Because you had just done it. Or your shop had just done it. And they were just insistent, and I think they were like wanting $500 or something to do this thing. But they pushed and pushed, and it's like I just finally picked up the phone, called, and said, hey, I want to make sure this was replaced on my car. And indeed it was. And we got off the phone. I was like, just align my wheels and let me out. And it better not show any wear and tear after I pull out of here. But it's that type of stuff that can happen to you.
Exactly, and it's the things like that when, for example, if they are purchasing a lifetime alignment, you pay once, but the shop itself and the technicians are still having to get paid. And so, typically they're going to look for things that they can to change out. But it's knowing the questions to ask. It's knowing, to be thorough about what work was done. And also going to a shop that can do an honest evaluation and assessment of the concerns you're having, whether it's the suspension, to make sure that they are still in good working order, that they're greased properly, that they're torqued at proper torque spec, that there's no worn parts to prevent them from having perfect alignment. That all has a great significance on how they all interplay with each other, and the experience that you're going to have with going to a shop. So it's things like that I like to educate people on, to inform them of those types of things, and to help facilitate the very best service and the very best experience. Because the trust that I've gained in people for the 25 years that I've been specifically in automotive, people trust that I'm going to point them in the right direction or help to make sure that they have the best service. And what I've learned also is from customers over the years is their experiences are not always consistent. You may go to a shop, they may have good reviews, you may be referred by somebody, maybe your buddy went to them, but maybe the person up front's nice, the person who answered the phone's nice, the owner's nice. Who's working out in the shop, though? Is it the same person every time? Are they experienced? Are they new? Or you may have a good technician, but maybe the person up front said they were going to call you back and they didn't. Maybe they weren't very thorough and accommodating when answering your questions because you had multiple questions and they're busy and they don't have time. So it's things like that. Details matter, consistency matters. So I like to bridge that gap and make sure that you get the very best service no matter where you're going. So.
All right, so that's the new that's what you've evolved to under WPS.
Yep. Yes, and that's woodlandsperformance.com, and then also the woodlandshomerepairs.com for any home repair service, handyman service, or remodeling project. You can always call me because I will make sure you get taken care of.
And is there an email address, and what's the phone number?
Yeah, so for woodlandsperformance.com, you can go to that website. My email is dana@woodlandsperformance.com. You can also find me on Facebook, as you know, under the Woodlands Car Club as well. And then for the Woodlands Home Repairs, it's easy. Just go to the website, thewoodlandshomerepairs.com, or Dana P. at TWH, the Woodlands Home, RTexTX.com.
You better say that one again. I think you
just call me. Just email me. I'll get you pointed in the right direction because the email's kind of hard. So.
All right.
But I appreciate you allowing me to tell everybody what I'm up to now, because I know I can surely help a lot of people. So.
Well, you're one of the co-hosts here. We need you back, so it's, let's give you a little bit of time. So.
Appreciate you.
Well, hey, we've exceeded our time this segment. So I'm going to slide on out of here, and I'm sure Dick's back there ready to go to lunch. So saying that, that's it for this episode of Cruisin' Car Club Talk. I'm Randy Weldon. Robert Helmer just called in on my phone over here, which is vibrating, and we've got Dana Pritchard. We have to get him back in the studio. Your name again?
Dana Pritchard.
Dana Pritchard. So, and locked up back in the safe room / sound booth is Dick Schischler, our sound engineer and producer. We are broadcasting from the studios at Lone Star Community Radio on 104.5 and 106.1 FM and streaming worldwide on irlonestar.com, on Facebook, and on YouTube. And we'll look forward to seeing you and everybody else on the next episode.
Take care. Have a good week.